Hello, everyone. We are back with Jana, and we are going to be talking about rediscovering your postpartum body today. Jana, take it away.
Hi. Hi, I am Jana. So I have spent the last 10 years of my professional career focusing on pregnancy and postpartum. And a lot of that has led me to, in general, the pelvis and the soft tissues, in particular, the pelvis. So if you don't know, I am a massage therapist, a registered massage therapist for 22 years. And everything about soft tissue excites me. So learning about the soft tissue and how it's affected by pregnancy, and then its journey back to what a postpartum body should and can look like is absolutely fascinating to me. So I'm taking in all of this information and ready to help all postpartum bodies have the best postpartum experience they could have. Um, what I often see with families, or there's a lot of things that are ignored. There's a lot of what I would call troublesome symptoms that are just like, well, that's just, I had a baby. Like, what do you expect? The whole like, pee when you laugh, or pee when you cough, or pee when you jump, or pee when you breathe. um, all of those things are actual symptoms of pelvic floor dysfunction, and it is definitely not something that you should be living with. And there's some really basic things that you can do for your body to assist that um, very quickly. And if it doesn't help, then that's another red flag that tells us that maybe there's some more investigating that needs to be done, and a little bit more involved work, like with a professional postpartum pelvic floor specialist that we have in the city. But yeah, so that's my spiel. That's what I want to talk about. And I jumped right through your own introduction. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I got excited. I get really excited about pelvic floors.
That's awesome. It's all good. So I'm Kayla Huzar. I am a registered social worker and perinatal mental health specialist. And so I'm here today just to provide some context with Jana, and Jana's going to share her knowledge mostly in terms of what how do we know when something is wrong? Like you've already enlightened some of those details. I was at a family function even this summer, and somebody, a new mom, was just like, oh well, that's just, you pee a little. And I was just like, I think I'm the only person in the room that was like, that's not, no. Can we talk about
Right?
that? So
Yeah.
I think it's super important that we educate women on their postpartum bodies and helping them understand why things might be feeling the way that they do. And like you've already alluded, like teaching some basic mind body exercises to help foster that healthy postpartum mind and body. And like really seriously, for anybody who's watching this, encouraging the appropriate professional support, even when your symptoms might be indicator that something else is deeper and going on. I read a quote one time that, what was it, 30% of women say that it hurts when they have sex. And it was like a kind of a meme in terms of like, if this was a dude's problem, there would not be that many people having pain when they have sex. And so this, like, instead of suffering in silence, there's definitely solutions, and things that we can practice today. So um what
Absolutely.
what are some of the reasons, like what is the benefit to exploring some of these symptoms, that you're talking about?
Well, I mean, having a pain-free, enjoyable sex life would be a pretty huge benefit in my books. And unfortunately, like you said, 30% actually is probably on the lower side of reality, because a lot of people, they're not talking about it. They are quiet about it. Nobody wants to admit that they don't have a great sex life. And so, a big part of that is the shame just around um, all of the postpartum pelvic floor symptoms. That isn't just painful sex, but urinary incontinence, fecal incontinence. A lot of people don't talk about these sides of the symptoms because they're embarrassing, and they just don't. if it's not funny, then it's not something that they even want to address. So being able to live a life where you don't have physical pain, regardless of whether that's during sex or just walking around, jumping on the trampoline with your kids or whatever you're doing, um, being able to feel, like a whole body. And then the emotional side of that. So a lot of times when we do have a new baby, we have a hard time, um, I guess, accepting our new body, because there's this whole like bounce back culture and this idea that at some point you are going to get your body back. And first of all, no. Um, your body is forever changed, and this does not need to be a scary thing or a negative thing. Our body is forever changed. Look at what it went through to bring a baby into the world, and it's going to take um, time for things to heal, the physical side of healing, but also this emotional connection that we have to ourselves and our body and its worth and what it can do and what it used to be able to do and what it can do now. That's a journey. That's a whole process, and it is not going to happen overnight. And it might not happen at all without purposeful work. So being able to do the work and then have this really amazing journey with yourself. I am a little bit older and a little bit further away from having had my baby. So I have this, we'll call it a somewhat unique opportunity to be able to reflect back on where was I 10 years ago when I was immediately postpartum and I'm feeling all of those feels, and where am I now, and that journey, how did I get here? I think a big part of that is accepting our bodies and loving our bodies for every stage that they're at, whether it's pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, postpartum, and everywhere in between, is a really important part of that journey and a big part of the healing of the postpartum phase. So um, I would say the number one way that we're going to get there is education, understanding our bodies, whether that's through joining a class like this Hive Mamas class that I'm going to be offering, or even just being able to physically rediscover your body. And we will talk about that in the class, and that important role that really truly rediscovering this new body for who it is going to be an important part of that journey. So um, yeah, I mean, Kayla, you've already mentioned the exercises. Of course, there's going to be physical exercises and mental exercises that we're going to be doing. I'm a big user of affirmations, but also just like educating ourselves on our actual bodies. If you haven't done any work or you're not familiar with anatomy at all, sometimes just like some really basic anatomy lessons in the pelvic floor can help you understand how your body is feeling, why it's feeling the way that it's feeling, how can we heal it so that it's no longer feeling those symptoms, and having a good understanding around how that all works together is really important.
Mm, mm. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think to close this little discussion today, I just want to say again that you don't need to suffer in silence. We want
Please
you to
don't.
learn about your postpartum body. It is forever changed. With my clients in terms of mental health, I say once postpartum, always postpartum. Like you are
Always.
forever changed. Forever changed. You might not always live in that postpartum phase, but what we know about mental health and physical health and the connection between the mind and the body is that these ailments can last years. Like the postpartum depression that you maybe have now, or anxiety or PTSD from your birth, um, those that lives in your body unless it is taken on a journey of healing, whether it's focusing on the physical or focusing on the emotional. And man, does it feel amazing when you can enjoy your life and your baby to the fullest and really like
Absolutely.
drop into these moments where you're not afraid
Yeah.
to run after them at the park, or you're not afraid to
Right.
um, sit down the wrong way or laugh at a family function, and have a little pee come out, because it is, even though um, that pelvic area, that pelvic bowl has changed, it doesn't have to be like that forever. You're not going to pee a little every time you laugh. And it's certainly
Yeah,
not normal, even though possibly social media and Instagram and funny memes might make us think that it should or does. Um, so
absolutely.
we want you to be able to have that education and that feel empowered with your knowledge to connect to these places of yourself that maybe hold some shame
Absolutely.
or blame, or my body didn't work properly in birth, or my boobs didn't work
Yeah.
properly after after birth, and just really
Right?
really connecting back into that physical self in order to heal out into the future.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And just it was interesting what you were saying with the emotional side of like that can linger, that can stay with you for years and years, as can pelvic floor dysfunction. If it is not treated professionally, if there are reasons for it to be treated professionally, it can stay and progress and get worse and worse over the years. So we want to heal our minds and we want to heal our bodies, and we're here for it. We want to help you on your journey and um, like Kayla said before, have the best postpartum experience possible and moving forward, the best life possible.
So check out the website for the upcoming Hive Mamas class, specifically Jana's pieces on the pelvis and having a healthy, normal, non-complicated, pain-free sex life post baby. It is possible. It's possible.
It is possible.
Orgasms
Hallelujah.
are in your future.
Yes.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
See you.